Millionaire dressed as a homeless man orders a meal at his restaurant. The waitress's reaction shocks everyone. The rain pounded against the windows of the Essence Bistro on that Tuesday morning in Chicago. Laura Mendoza wiped down the same table for the third time, trying to look busy while Veronica Sampson watched her with that hawk-like stare. 5 months pregnant, hidden under her black uniform, juggling 3 jobs to pay the bills, and now that nagging back pain that never let up. Laura. Those wine glasses are spotted. Veronica's voice sliced through the empty dining room. You think our customers pay $50 a plate to drink from dirty glasses? Sorry, Veronica. I'll swap them out right now. Laura grabbed the glasses, her legs shaky. She'd skipped breakfast again. The $10 in her pocket was for her mom's meds, the ones Medicaid wouldn't cover. Mrs. Celia was on her 4th round of chemo, and it got harder every day to watch her waste away in that hospital bed. The Essence Bistro had only been open for 2 months, but it was already the darling of Chicago's elite. Veronica had turned it into a temple of exclusivity. Marble walls, imported crystal chandeliers, and a menu that cost more than Laura's monthly rent. You know what makes me happy? Veronica approached, her heels clicking on the floor. Seeing this place packed with people who really matter. Classy folks. People who appreciate fine dining. Laura just nodded. She'd learned that agreeing was safer than arguing. Oh, and Laura? Veronica lowered her voice. That homeless guy who hangs out on the corner, if he comes near the door again, you call security. Right away. I don't want that kind of element scaring off our clientele. Laura's heart tightened. She knew the man. His name was John, around 60, and he always greeted her politely when she passed by. One day, he'd shared that he had a daughter too, but hadn't seen her in 15 years. Understood? Veronica pressed. Yes, ma'am. But the universe had other plans. At 10:37 that morning, with the restaurant still empty and prepping for lunch, the door swung open. Daniel Harrington stumbled in, clothes soaked and torn, reeking of booze and cigarettes. His scruffy beard partially hid his face, and his bloodshot eyes looked like they hadn't slept in days. He carried a ripped plastic bag with a few belongings. Veronica spotted him through the window. Her face twisted in disgust. What the hell is this? She charged toward the entrance. Robert. Robert, where are you? The security guard came running. Get this bum out of here now. Do it. Daniel stopped in the middle of the dining room, rainwater dripping onto the marble floor. He looked around, like he was lost. Laura was folding napkins at a back table. Her first instinct was to duck her head, pretend she hadn't seen. She had the baby to think about. Her mom. She couldn't lose this job. But then her eyes met his. And in that gaze, she saw something she knew all too well. Hunger. Loneliness. Despair. The same look she'd seen in the mirror at 12, when her family survived on rice and eggs for 3 months after her dad lost his factory job. Miss. Daniel's voice was raspy, trembling. Please, I just want a hot meal. Haven't had anything warm in 3 days. Before Robert could reach him, Laura moved. Good morning, sir. She flashed a genuine smile, the kind she could still muster on the toughest days. How can I help you? Laura. Veronica bellowed. What do you think you're doing? Just hearing what he needs, Veronica. You're not doing a damn thing. Robert, I said get this vagrant out. Daniel stepped back, hands shaking. I can work. Wash dishes, sweep, clean the bathrooms. Whatever you need. I just want a hot meal, that's all. Tears started streaming down his dirty face. And something inside Laura broke. She thought of her mom in that hospital bed. Of the baby growing inside her. Of all the times she'd gone hungry, been invisible, treated like trash by people with money. "Veronica, let me handle this." Her voice came out firmer than she'd expected. "Please. Are you crazy? This is a 5-star restaurant, not a soup kitchen." The other staff started gathering. Chef Marcus peeked through the kitchen window. Receptionist Julia clutched the phone, unsure if she should call the cops. "I know what it's like." Laura gently touched Daniel's arm. "Come with me, sir. Laura Mendoza, if you take one more step with this bum, you're fired. Got it?" "Fired." Silence fell over the dining room. Laura looked at Veronica. Then at Daniel. Then at her own calloused hands, rough from endless shifts. And she made a choice. "Come on." She led Daniel to a table in the back, away from the windows. "Sit here. I'll get you something." Veronica was purple with rage, but her phone rang. It was the supplier she used to fudge invoices. She shot Laura a murderous glare before answering and storming off. In the kitchen, Laura pulled out her phone. She opened her banking app. $10.23. It was all she had until payday. Her mom's meds cost $9. She closed her eyes. Saw Mrs. Celia's pale, tired face. Heard her voice, "Daughter, never let this world harden you. Promise me?" Laura opened her eyes and called Marcus. "I need a favor." "Laura, you're gonna get yourself in deep shit if you do this." "I know. But I have to. The executive platter, please. The fullest one you can make." She transferred $9 to the restaurant's account via the app. She'd have $1.23 until her next check. Her mom's meds would have to wait. 10 minutes later, Laura set a steaming plate in front of Daniel: filet mignon in Madeira sauce, wild rice, sautéed veggies, and roasted potatoes. A pitcher of fresh orange juice. Warm dinner rolls. His eyes welled up again. I can't pay for this. It's already paid for." Laura pulled up a chair and sat beside him. "Eat slowly, okay? No rush." Daniel picked up the fork with trembling hands. The first bite hit his mouth, and he closed his eyes. A tear rolled down his cheek. "When's the last time you ate?" Laura asked softly. "Sunday. Found some day-old bread in a bakery dumpster." Her stomach churned. "Do you have family?" "I did." Daniel swallowed hard. "Had a wife. She died 2 years ago. Cancer. My mom's got cancer too." The words slipped out before Laura could stop them. They locked eyes, too. Strangers bound by the same pain. "How's she doing?" Daniel asked. "Fighting. She's tough." Laura smiled, but her eyes were misty. "Tougher than me." "I doubt that." He nodded at the plate. "You just paid for this out of your own pocket, didn't you?" Laura didn't answer. "I saw you checking your phone. Saw your face." Daniel set down his fork. "Miss, that money meant something to you. Eat." Laura wiped her eyes. "It's getting cold." They talked for 20 minutes. Daniel shared how he'd once had a different life, worked for years at a firm, lost it all when his wife got sick. Laura opened up about the pregnancy, for the first time out loud at work. About her 3 jobs. About her mom. "How old are you?" Daniel asked. 24. "And you're already carrying the world on your shoulders." He shook his head. "You remind me of someone." "Who?" "Me. Back when I still believed kindness mattered in this world." Laura touched his hand on the table. "It still does." The office door slammed open. Veronica stormed in with a folder in hand and fury in her eyes. Laura Mendoza. In here, now. Laura stood, heart pounding. Finish eating. She told Daniel. Please. In the office, Veronica slammed the folder on the desk. You disobeyed me. In front of everyone. Veronica, he just wanted food. I paid out of pocket, it didn't cost the restaurant a dime. It's not about the money. Veronica yelled. It's about you making this place look like a welfare office. It's about you tarnishing the image I've built here. One meal won't tarnish anything. You're fired. The world stopped. What? You heard me. Fired. Get your stuff and get out. Veronica, please, I need this job. My mom. Should have thought of that before. Veronica yanked open a drawer and tossed an envelope on the desk. Here's your prorated pay for the days you've worked this month. Now leave. Please. Laura's voice cracked. I'm pregnant. I need that money for. Oh, I know you're pregnant. Veronica crossed her arms. You think I'm stupid? I saw you puking in the bathroom last week. And you know what? Even if I wasn't firing you today, I'd let you go as soon as that belly showed. You think my customers want to be waited on by a knocked-up waitress? This is a luxury spot, not a maternity ward. Tears streamed down Laura's face now, uncontrollable. You can't do this. It's illegal to fire someone for being pregnant. I'm not firing you for that. Veronica smirked coldly. I'm firing you for insubordination. For disobeying direct orders. Good luck proving otherwise. Laura grabbed the envelope with shaking hands. $1,200. Less than a month's wages. Oh, and Laura? Veronica opened the door. When you get home tonight, think hard about your choices. You traded your job, your mom's treatment, and your baby's future for a bum. Hope it was worth it. Laura left the office on wobbly legs. In the dining room, the staff stood frozen in silence. Daniel had finished eating and was on his feet, clutching his ripped bag. He saw her face and knew. Miss, because of me? Laura couldn't respond. She just grabbed her purse from the locker and slipped out the back door. The rain had stopped, but the day stayed gray. She walked 3 blocks before collapsing at an empty bus stop. There, alone, Laura cried like she hadn't in years. For her mom who needed meds. For the baby inside her. For the job she'd lost. For the world's absurd injustice. But deep down, a part of her didn't regret it. Because when she'd looked into that man's eyes and seen his humanity, she had no choice. She couldn't have chosen otherwise. If she'd let that die inside her, the ability to see people, not problems, then Veronica would have won. And she couldn't let that happen. And you? Would you have made the same choice as Laura, knowing you'd lose everything? Is there a price for compassion, or should it be unconditional? 3 days dragged like 3 years. Laura had called her mom at the hospital, saying the meds would be delayed a few days due to insurance issues. The lie came too easily, and it made her hate herself a little. Mrs. Celia noticed, of course. Moms always do. Honey, something happened? No, Mom. Everything's fine. Just tired. But it wasn't fine. Laura had lost 1/3 of her monthly income. The severance barely covered the overdue rent. And then there was the electric bill, the prenatal checkup, groceries. She was at her second job, cashier at a grocery store, when the call came. Laura Mendoza? Yes? This is Patricia from the legal department at Harrington Group Holdings. Do you have a moment? Laura's heart raced. Harrington Group. Owners of the Essence. Yes, go ahead. You're summoned to a meeting at corporate headquarters tomorrow at 3 p.m. It's regarding the recent events at the Essence Bistro. Your presence is required. Am I being sued? I can't give details over the phone. Just show up at the address, I'll text you. Have a good day. The call ended. Laura froze at the register, a customer waiting with a full cart, the world crumbling again. They're gonna sue me. Veronica must have claimed I stole something. I'll have a record. I'll lose custody of the baby in jail. Mom will die without me. Miss, are you gonna ring me up or what? Laura blinked back to reality. Sorry. Really sorry. That night, she barely slept. By 6 a.m. Wednesday, she was at the hospital with her mom. Mrs. Celia looked worse. Paler skin, sunken eyes. But when she saw her daughter, she smiled. My angel. You're here early today. Wanted to see you before a meeting. Laura held her hand, so cold and frail. Mom, I need to tell you something. And she did. The homeless man. The meal. The firing. The summons. She braced for a scolding. For despair. For her mom calling her irresponsible. But Mrs. Celia just squeezed her hand. You did the right thing. Mom, I left you without meds. Put the baby at risk. Lost my job for a stranger. You didn't do it for a stranger. Mrs. Celia's voice was weak but steady. You did it for you. So this world couldn't kill who you are. But what if I lose everything? What if they sue me? Then we lose. But with our heads high. Mrs. Celia touched her daughter's belly. And this baby will grow up knowing his mom has integrity. That's worth more than any job. Laura cried there, head on her mom's shoe. Like when she was a kid. By 2:30 p.m., she stood outside a 20-story glass tower in Chicago's Loop. Harrington Group Holdings. The gold logo gleamed in the sun. She entered with her stomach in knots. The lobby had marble floors, artwork on the walls, security with earpieces. Laura Mendoza for the legal meeting. Her voice trembled. The receptionist checked her computer. 20th floor. Conference room B. In the elevator, Laura eyed her reflection. Her best dress, already tight around the middle. Worn sneakers because her work heels broke last month. Hair in a simple bun. She looked exactly like what she was, a broke waitress about to get crushed by powerful people. The conference room was intimidating. A massive mahogany table, leather chairs, panoramic city view. 3 people were already waiting. A woman in a gray pantsuit and designer glasses, probably the lawyer. An older man in a navy suit. And Laura gripped the chair. Daniel. But not the soaked, filthy Daniel from the restaurant. This Daniel wore a flawless Italian suit, silk tie, a watch that probably cost more than a car. His hair was trimmed, beard shaved, eyes sharp and alert. He smiled when he saw her, but it was an odd smile. Like he held a massive secret. Miss Mendoza, please have a seat. The lawyer gestured to a chair. I'm Dr. Patricia Andrews. This is Mr. Albert Conway, HR Director for the group. And this. It's Daniel. Laura murmured, confused. Sir, what are you doing here? It was the man in the navy suit who answered. Miss Mendoza, allow me to introduce him properly. Albert smiled. This is Daniel Harrington. Owner of Harrington Group Holdings. Owner of the 15 restaurants in the chain, including the Essence Bistro. The world stopped spinning. The what? Daniel stood and extended his hand. Pleasure to meet you officially, Laura. She couldn't move. Couldn't process. I don't understand. Let me explain. Daniel pulled up a chair beside her. When my wife died, I nearly died too. Everything lost meaning. Money, success, business, none of it mattered. But you know what saved me? Memories. He paused, eyes distant. Memories of when I had nothing. When my wife and I slept on the streets 30 years ago, after my parents' bakery went bust in the recession. 3 years on the streets, Laura. 3 years invisible. 3 years learning that dignity has no price tag. Laura was in shock, just listening. When I rebuilt my life and built this empire, I made a promise: I'd never forget where I came from. And more importantly, I'd never hire anyone for leadership without testing their character first. Daniel smiled. So I developed a method. I visit each new restaurant disguised as a homeless man. I watch how people react. Because how you treat a stranger reveals who you really are. The lawyer slid a folder toward Laura. Over the last 2 months, we've done routine audits at the Essence. And we found irregularities. She opened the folder. Documents, spreadsheets, chat screenshots. Veronica Sampson was siphoning funds from the restaurant through fake supplier invoices. Total, $30,000 embezzled in 2 months. Laura's eyes widened. We confronted her yesterday. Albert continued. At first, she denied it. Then tried to blame other staff. Then offered to pay it back. And finally, he paused. Tried to bribe our auditors with $10,000. She's in jail. Daniel said plainly. She'll face charges for embezzlement, forgery, and attempted bribery. Laura still couldn't speak. Too much information. But there's more. Daniel pulled another document. We also discovered you, Laura, were paid only minimum wage, no overtime despite working over 10 hours a day. Veronica pocketed the difference. So legal calculated everything we owe you. He turned the paper so she could see. $5,000. That'll be deposited today. The lawyer said. Plus $3,000 in settlement for wrongful termination related to your pregnancy. Tears started down Laura's cheeks. I don't know what to say. You don't have to yet. Daniel smiled. Because I haven't gotten to the main part. He stood and walked to the window, gazing at the city. You spent your last $10 on me, Laura. Money for your mom's meds. Money you didn't have. And still, you treated me like a human. Gave me food. Gave me dignity. Sat with me and talked like I mattered. He turned, eyes misty. You didn't know who I was. Expected nothing back. You did it because it was right. And you lost everything for it. Daniel returned to the table and pulled out another envelope. The Essence needs a new manager. Someone who gets that a restaurant isn't just about pricey food and rich customers. It's about people. Dignity. Humanity. He placed the envelope in front of her. I want you to take the job. Laura blinked, confused. Me? But I don't have a degree. No college. Just finished high school while working nights. You have something more valuable than a diploma. Albert leaned in. Character. Empathy. Moral courage. You can't learn that in college. I'll arrange all the training you need. Daniel went on. Management courses, business admin, HR. All paid by the company. And you'll have full support from the corporate team. Laura opened the envelope with trembling hands. Employment contract. Manager of the Essence. Salary, $10,000 a month. She let out a sob. That's 6 times what I made. And more. The lawyer slid over another document. Premium health insurance for you and dependents, including your mom. Full coverage for cancer treatment, no waiting period, top specialists in the city. When your baby comes, Daniel added, free on-site daycare in this building. 6 months paid maternity leave. And a $10,000 signing bonus, deposited today, to clear any financial mess. Laura couldn't hold it back anymore. She sobbed openly, body shaking. Why? Why are you doing this? Daniel knelt by her chair, taking her hands. Because 30 years ago, a waitress named Esther did the same for me. When I was on the streets, starving, she bought me food out of her pocket. Treated me like a person. And told me something I'll never forget, one day, when you can, pay it forward. He squeezed her hands. Esther died of cancer 2 years ago. She was my wife. We built all this together. And she made me promise I'd always value people like you. People who choose kindness even when it costs everything. Laura looked into his eyes and saw truth. Pain. Recognition. That $10 you spent on me. Daniel smiled through tears. I'll multiply it 1,000 times. Because that's what kindness deserves. Not punishment. Not poverty. But reward. Dignity. Recognition. I don't know if I can do this. Laura sobbed. Manage a whole restaurant, what if I fail? You won't fail. Albert said firmly. Because you have what Veronica never did, you care about people. And in the end, that's what it's about. Not profits or appearances. Treating every human, customer, employee, vendor, the guy at the door, with dignity. Laura looked at the documents. The waiting signatures. The completely new life on offer. Can I think about it? Of course. Daniel stood. But I need you to know one thing. You always had a choice, Laura. That rainy morning, you could have ignored me. Called security. Protected your job. But you didn't. He walked to the door. You chose right even knowing you'd lose everything. And people like that are rare. So rare that when I find one, I do everything to keep her around. Because they're the ones who change the world. Laura wiped her tears. One condition. Daniel paused, turning. Name it. I want to start a program at the restaurant. Feeding the homeless. Free meals every day. Served on real plates, with the same respect we give paying customers. Silence filled the room. Then Daniel broke into the biggest smile she'd ever seen. Patricia, put that in the contract. Officially. The Dignity Project, 20 free meals a day for those in need. And roll it out to all 15 restaurants in the chain. The lawyer smiled and jotted notes. Anything else? Daniel asked. Julia. The receptionist at the Essence. Laura said. She was always kind to me. Stuck up for me against Veronica when she thought no one was watching. I want her promoted to supervisor. Done. And Marcus, the chef. He helped me that day, even knowing he could get fired. Deserves a raise. Everyone who backed you will be rewarded. Albert assured. We're already reviewing the staff. Laura picked up the pen. Her hands still shook, but now from something else. Not fear. Not despair. Hope. She signed every page, every clause. And when she finished, she wasn't just Laura Mendoza, 3-job waitress. She was Laura Mendoza, manager. Leader. Someone with a voice. Welcome to the team. Daniel extended his hand. She shook it, firm now. Thank you. For everything. For believing in me. No. Daniel smiled. Thank you for reminding me good people still exist. Laura left that building 2 hours later with her life transformed. In her pocket, the deposit confirmations. In her bag, the signed contract. In her heart, something she hadn't felt in ages. Joy. She went straight to the hospital. Mrs. Celia was awake, staring out the window. When she saw her daughter, she frowned. "What's with that look? Something happen?" Laura sat on the bed and told her everything. Every detail. Every revelation. Every tear. When she finished, her mom was crying too. "I always knew." Mrs. Celia cupped her daughter's face. "Always knew your kind heart would take you far. Just didn't know how far. You'll get the best treatment now, Mom. The top doctor. And you'll beat this. You'll meet your grandkid. Watch them grow. Granddaughter." Mrs. Celia smiled through tears. "It's a girl." "I know." "How do you know?" "Moms know." She touched Laura's belly. "And I already have a name." "What?" "Hope." Mrs. Celia closed her eyes. "Because that's what you gave me when I thought I'd lost everything." Laura hugged her mom, and they stayed like that for long minutes. Two women who'd survived so much, lost so much, now finally with something to gain. But is kindness always rewarded like this? Or did Laura just get lucky helping the right person? If it had been any homeless guy, would losing everything have been worth it? The first days as manager were terrifying. Laura arrived at the Essence at 6 a.m., 3 hours before opening. Just to review everything. She studied the manuals Albert sent. Watched training videos. Took notes until her hand ached. But the hardest part wasn't learning. It was facing the staff. Most welcomed her. Julia, now supervisor, was her rock. Chef Marcus treated her with real respect. But there was pushback. A waitress turning manager overnight? Richard, the sommelier, said loud enough for her to hear. Must have been a belly promotion. Laura pretended not to hear, but the words stung. Especially since there was truth in it. She was pregnant. She'd been a waitress last week. Now she was bossing around people with degrees, European training, years of experience. "Ignore him," Julia said. Richard's pissed because he thought he'd get the job when Veronica left. But it wasn't just Richard. 2 servers quit in the first week. The hostess started forgetting key info. Little sabotages, not big enough to fire over, but constant enough to wear her down. And then there was the Dignity Project. Laura announced the program in a staff meeting. Every day from 11 a.m. to noon, the restaurant would serve 20 free meals to those in need. Full menu, proper dishes, respectful service. "Are you nuts?" Richard exploded. "We'll turn into a bum magnet. Our customers will bolt." "Our customers," Laura replied, voice shaky but steady, "could learn that dignity isn't just for the wealthy. That's Instagram bullshit. In the real world, a luxury spot doesn't become a charity. This one does." Laura stood. "And if anyone's uncomfortable, the door's open. No hard feelings." 3 staff quit that week. But others stayed. And when the program launched, something magical happened. The first to arrive was John, the older guy from the corner Laura knew. He entered shyly, glancing around like he'd be thrown out any second. "Good morning, Mr. John." Laura greeted him personally. "Welcome." His eyes teared up. "Miss Laura, this for real? I can eat here?" "You sure can. And Julia, our best server, will take care of you." Julia, prepped and ready, led John to a table. Not in the back. Not hidden. But by the window, where the morning light streamed in beautifully. Others trickled in. Mary, who collected cans. Peter, who slept under the overpass. Each with their story, their pain, their dignity buried under layers of dirt and neglect. And Laura served every one. Greeted by name. Asked how they were. Listened to tales. Regular customers watched, curious. Some disapproved quietly. But others started to get it. A wealthy regular lady called Laura over. "Manager, mind if I ask something?" "Of course, Mrs. Beatrice." "Why do this? Feeding these folks for free?" Laura sat beside her. "Because someone did it for me when I needed it. And if we close our eyes to suffering, we stop being human. We become just consumers." Mrs. Beatrice was quiet a moment. "You know what? I'll sponsor 10 more meals a day. In my name. So more people can eat." Laura nearly cried right there. And then other customers followed. The businessman at table 7 sponsored 5. The young couple at 12 sponsored 3. In 2 weeks, the Dignity Project had a waiting list of sponsors. But it wasn't all smooth. One morning, Laura arrived to graffiti on the door, "Bum Restaurant." Another time, someone posted online that the Essence was infested with beggars. And then the call that changed everything. "Laura, it's Albert. Need you at headquarters. Now." His tone was grave. "Worried. What happened?" "Veronica's suing you and Daniel. For defamation and emotional distress. Claims it was a setup, evidence planted, and that you seduced Daniel for the promotion." Laura felt the floor drop. "That's insane. She was stealing." "I know. But she got a top lawyer. And she's spinning it in the media, says she was a solid exec ruined by jealous underlings. What do I do? Come to headquarters. Legal will brief you." "And Laura?" Albert paused. "Brace yourself. This is gonna get ugly." It did. The story leaked to the press. Tabloids speculated. Pregnant waitress skyrockets after hookup with disguised billionaire. Fired manager accuses company of frame-up and harassment. Strangers opined online. Half called her an opportunist. Half a saint. Her face was everywhere. Pregnant, poor, promoted too fast, the perfect cynic's target. She obviously seduced him. One comment read, "Bet the pregnancy's fake, all planned." Another added, "Poor thing, she'll be used and dumped." A third chimed. Laura stopped reading. Stopped checking her phone. Focused on work. But pressure mounted when health inspectors showed up unannounced. They scoured every inch, hunting violations to shut them down temporarily. "Someone reported you," the lead inspector said. "Claims serving the homeless violates health codes." Laura had to prove with docs and protocols that everything was up to standard. 6 hours of nitpicking. In the end, nothing found. But the message was clear, powerful people wanted them sunk. "It's Veronica," Daniel said in an emergency meeting. "She has connections. Politicians owing favors. Businessmen in her schemes. She's pulling every string for revenge. But she's in jail." Laura protested. "House arrest." The lawyer corrected. "Ankle monitor. Full freedom to call, hire lawyers, launch attacks." "What does she want?" "To destroy you," Daniel said bluntly. "And hit me in the process. If she proves I promoted you for the wrong reasons, her criminal case weakens. Turns into he said she said. My word against hers." Laura felt nauseous. The baby kicked, sensing the stress. "I won't let her use you like this," Laura said firmly. "I'll resign. Go back to waitressing. Ends the drama and—" "No." Daniel slammed the table. "We won't let her win that easy. You earned this job. By character, not manipulation." "But what if no one believes that? Then we prove it. Julia burst into the meeting, phone in hand. With this, she set the phone down. A video paused on the screen. Remember when Veronica fired you? I recorded it all. Julia hit play. There it was, Veronica yelling about the pregnancy, the visible belly, not wanting a pregnant waitress. Clear admission of discrimination. Why didn't you show this sooner? Laura asked, stunned. Wanted your okay first. It's your story. Your pain. Only you decide if it's shared. Laura stared at the video. Her crying, begging self. Veronica. Cruel and cold. If we release this, the lawyer said carefully, it destroys any credibility Veronica has left. But it exposes you too. It'll go viral. They'll dissect every second. Laura thought of her mom. The baby. All the pregnant waitresses fired unfairly, unable to prove it. Release it, she said. But not as an attack. As awareness. How many women go through this daily? Lose jobs for being pregnant and can't fight back. Daniel smiled. We'll turn it into a campaign. Educating on pregnant workers' rights. With your face, your story, but focusing on the bigger issue. That's what they did. The video dropped on a Thursday afternoon. In 6 hours, 5 million views. In 12, every news channel. The backlash was explosive. Women shared similar stories. Hashtags trended. Movement sparked. Veronica tried denying, but her own voice on tape was undeniable. Her lawyers bailed. Supporters vanished. House arrest revoked, back to jail, no bail. But Laura didn't celebrate. Because she realized then, it wasn't about revenge. Never was. It was justice. Giving voice to the voiceless. Turning pain into change. But is publicly exposing someone, even if guilty, true justice? Or just socially acceptable revenge? Where's the line between deserved punishment and overkill? Veronica's trial was set for a rainy Friday, 6 weeks later. Laura didn't have to go. Prosecutors had enough evidence without her testimony. But she went anyway. Needed to see. Needed to understand. The courtroom was packed. Reporters, gawkers, ex-Essence staff. In the defendant's box, Veronica wore a plain gray suit, hair pulled back, minimal makeup. Trying to look humble. Remorseful. But when her eyes met Laura's, no remorse. Just pure hate. The judge entered. Everyone rose. Case 2847 to 2024. The People vs. Veronica Sampson. Charges: embezzlement, forgery, and employment discrimination. The prosecutor laid out the evidence. Fake invoices. Ghost account transfers. Screenshots of chats with crooked vendors. Mountains of proof. Undeniable. Then Veronica's lawyer took the floor. A 60-ish man in an expensive suit, arrogant stance. Your Honor, my client is the victim of a conspiracy by Daniel Harrington and Laura Mendoza. A man obsessed with control, using weird psych tests to manipulate staff. And an ambitio. Us young woman who saw a shot at quick climbing through questionable means. Laura's blood boiled. Veronica Sampson built her career through hard work and merit. When she uncovered irregularities at the Essence, planted ones, I might add, she was silenced and framed. Objection. The prosecutor stood. No evidence supports this conspiracy nonsense. None? The lawyer smirked. Then explain a waitress with no education, pregnant, rocketing to manager overnight after a so-called act of kindness. What's the real probability? Murmurs rippled through the courtroom. Laura Mendoza's the real schemer. He pressed. She spotted a rich guy in disguise. Come on, what healthy exec does that, and seized the chance. Spent $10 knowing it'd pay off big. Investment, not kindness. Laura fought tears of rage. Wanted to scream. Punch the guy. But Daniel stood. May I speak, Your Honor? The judge frowned. Mr. Harrington, you're not on trial here. I know. But my character is. And I want to clear something up. The judge hesitated, then nodded. Daniel walked to the center. I've disguised myself as homeless for 8 years. Tested 47 spots. Know how many helped me for real? He paused. 3. 3 out of 47. Laura was the third. He turned to Veronica's lawyer. You say she recognized me. Knew who I was. Want me to prove that's a lie? Without waiting, Daniel shed his suit jacket. Unbuttoned his shirt. Dropped his tie. The room gasped. He grabbed a backpack he'd brought and pulled out old clothes. The same ragged ones from that day. Dressed right there, in front of everyone. Prosecutor, call witness Laura Mendoza. Laura approached, bewildered. Daniel mussed his hair. Smeared dirt makeup on his face from the bag. Donned broken glasses. Suddenly, he wasn't Daniel Harrington, tycoon. He was that drenched, desperate man from 6 weeks ago. Laura, he said, voice breaking, if I showed up at your restaurant door today like this, would you recognize me as Daniel Harrington? She looked. Really looked. And had to admit, no. I'd see a man who needs help. And what would you do? The same. Give food. Talk. Treat with dignity. Even knowing you could lose everything again? Laura swallowed hard. Thought of her mom. The baby. The job she now had. Even then. Daniel faced the court. That's the point. It's not about spotting me. It's about spotting humanity. Something Veronica never had. He pointed at her in the box. She saw a bum and saw trash. Something to remove, hide, eliminate. Because in her world, people only matter if they have cash. And when I saw that, how she treated Laura, I dug deeper. That's when we found the theft. The lawyer tried interrupting, but Daniel kept going. I didn't promote Laura for kindness. I promoted her because she has what no MBA teaches. Empathy. Moral courage. Doing right even when it costs everything. And if that's fakeable, if that can be manipulated, we're all doomed. He dressed properly again, right there. Veronica stole $30,000. But she stole worse, dignity. From staff she bullied. Customers she judged by looks. Homeless she had roughed up. Objection. No proof of violence. The lawyer shouted. There is. The prosecutor pulled a file. Witnesses say Veronica ordered security to remove by force homeless folks. 3 documented assaults. Veronica paled. The trial dragged 2 more hours. Witnesses testified. Staff she'd humiliated. Vendors she'd threatened. Each with abuse stories. Finally, the judge recessed to deliberate. Returned 30 minutes later. Veronica Sampson, after reviewing the evidence, this court finds you guilty of embezzlement, forgery, and employment discrimination. Sentence, 6 years in prison, closed facility, plus full restitution of stolen funds and compensation to discrimination victims. Veronica collapsed. Sobbed. Screamed. This is injustice. You're condemning me for protecting a business. For demanding excellence. The judge banged the gavel. You're condemned for the crimes you committed. For treating humans as disposable. For stealing. For Discriminating. That's not excellence, Ms. Sampson. That's cruelty. She was led out in cuffs, ranting about injustice, conspiracy, the world upside down. Laura watched in silence. No joy. No satisfied revenge. Just sadness. For a woman who'd had so much and chosen cruelty. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed Laura. How do you feel about the verdict? What would you say to Veronica now? Gonna sue her civilly too? Laura took a breath. I'm not suing anyone. Justice is done. She paused. If I could talk to Veronica, I'd say I hope she uses those 6 years to learn people aren't numbers. Dignity isn't a privilege. And kindness isn't weakness. Do you forgive her? The question caught her off guard. Forgive? The woman who humiliated her? Fired her pregnant? Tried ruining her name? I'm trying. Laura answered honestly. Because holding hate only hurts me. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means not letting the hurt define me. She placed a hand on her belly. I'm having a daughter in 3 months. I want her to grow up seeing the world can be cruel, but doesn't have to be. That people can choose kindness. And that choice is always worth it. Cameras flashed. Reporters scribbled. And Laura's story, the waitress who lost everything for $10 of kindness and gained a future, spread far. But in the end, who really won? Laura, who got justice but carries the story forever? Or Veronica, who in prison at least doesn't fake kindness anymore? Where's the true victory in tales like this? 6 months later. Laura held hope in her arms at the Essence. The baby was 2 months old, with curious eyes and a smile that melted hearts. She's your spitting image, Mrs. Celia said, at a nearby table. Her hair had grown back post-chemo. Cheeks fuller. Cancer in remission. You think? Laura rocked her daughter gently. I see the dad's nose. His nose, your stubbornness. Her mom laughed. This girl's gonna keep you on your toes. The restaurant buzzed. Not just paying customers, but Dignity Project folks. John sat at table 7, chatting lively with Mrs. Beatrice, the rich regular now sponsoring 15 meals daily. Peter, once under the overpass, had a kitchen helper gig. Never dreamed, Marcus said, approaching Laura, a fancy spot could be like this. Mixed crowd. All kinds. And thriving. More than ever. It was true. The Essence was the chain's top earner. Not despite the Dignity Project, but because of it. Positive buzz drew socially conscious diners. Celebs came. Influencers hyped it. But deeper, the vibe shifted. Staff happier. Service warmer. Everyone, rich or poor, treated with dignity. Richard, the sommelier who'd trashed her, approached shyly. Laura, can we talk? Sure. He stared at the floor. I owe you an apology. When you got promoted, I thought it was luck. Didn't think you earned it. But. He glanced around. You've changed this place. Not just profitable, but better. More human. And I've learned watching you. Laura touched his arm. We're all learning, Richard. Me included. The door opened. Daniel entered with an elegant woman in her 50s. Laura, meet someone. Daniel smiled. This is Mercedes, manager of our Chicago flagship. No, our spot in New York. She wants to roll out the Dignity Project there too. Mercedes shook Laura's hand. Heard all about you. What you've done here. I want to bring it to New York. It's not just copying. Laura said thoughtfully. It's understanding why. Not free food. Seeing people. Exactly. Mercedes grinned. That's why I'm here to learn from you. In the weeks after, Laura trained Mercedes. Then other chain managers. The Dignity Project expanded to all 15 spots. But bigger, they created jobs for those in need. Not handouts. Opportunities. John became a host. Peter a kitchen aide. Mary started in cleaning but shone in baking, now made desserts. You didn't just feed our bodies. John told Laura one afternoon. You fed our dignity. Made us feel human again. In her office, Laura kept a framed photo. Her from that rainy day, serving disguised Daniel. Julia had snapped it secretly. When work got heavy, tough calls loomed, Laura eyed that photo and remembered, it's not about profit. It's people. One afternoon, Daniel called her to headquarters. Got a proposal. He said, mysterious smile. Expanding the group. 10 new restaurants in 2 years. Want you as director of social impact for the whole chain. Laura blinked. Me? But folks with way more experience. Folks with degrees. Daniel corrected. You have rarer vision. Turning business into social good. And making money doing it. Not sure I'm ready. No one's ready to change the world. He stood. But you've started. Now keep going. Laura accepted. In her first year as director, the Dignity Project served 127,000 free meals. Hired 43 formerly homeless folks. Partnered with shelters, rehab clinics, city programs. The story went global. Restaurants abroad copied the model. Awards rolled in. Docs got made. But Laura never forgot her roots. Monthly, she waitressed one day at the Essence. Served tables. Chatted customers. Stayed humble. And every month, on the rainy day's anniversary, she personally served the first 20 dignity meals. One such morning, 2 years later, a woman entered. Dirty clothes, lost eyes, trembling hands. Please, she whispered, I heard you serve food for those who can't pay. Laura smiled. Have a seat. I'll get you something. As she prepped the plate, the woman asked, why do you do this? You don't know me. Don't know if I deserve it. Laura set the meal down. Someone did it for me when I needed it. Now I pay it forward. Simple. And if I can't pay you back, you don't repay me. Laura sat beside her. When life turns around, and it will, you do it for someone else. That's how kindness multiplies. The woman cried. I was an exec. Car, apartment, good life. Then my husband died. Depression hit. Lost it all. She wiped tears. Thought I'd lost my humanity too. But you treated me like a person. Because you are. Laura squeezed her hand. And you deserve dignity. Always did. 3 months later, that woman, Samantha, worked as an admin assistant at the Essence. 6 months on, her own apartment. A year later, manager of another chain spot. And the cycle turned. Kindness begetting kindness. Dignity multiplying. In prison, Veronica served her time. Laura heard from Albert she worked the kitchen, serving other inmates. They say she's changed. Albert noted. Quieter. Humbler. I hope so. Laura said genuinely. Hope she finds peace. She never visited Veronica. Not from anger, but knowing some chapters close on their own. Hers was just beginning. Hope grew fast. At 2, she joined the on-site daycare. At 3, helped mom at the restaurant, handing out smiles to diners. When I grow up, she said once, I want to be like you, mommy. Feed everybody. Laura hugged her daughter, eyes teary. You can be anything, sweetie. As long as you're kind. Because kindness changes the world. Mrs. Celia, fully cured, volunteered at the Dignity Project till 70. Said every meal served was thanks for her second chance at life. Daniel, at 54, found family in Laura and hope after losing Esther. Godfather, advisor, friend. Together, they built more than restaurants. A movement. 5 years post-reign, Laura keynoted an international conference on social enterprise. I spent $10 I didn't have to feed a stranger. She told the 1,000-person crowd. Lost my job. Thought I'd ruined everything. She paused, scanning attentive faces. But I learned kindness is never wasted. It might not pay off quick. Might cost big. Might seem crazy. But it plants seeds. Front row, hope with Grandma and Godfather Daniel. That $10 sparked a movement serving 500,000 meals. Employing hundreds. Shifting how business works. Not 'cause I'm special. But 'cause I chose to see humanity where others saw hassle. Applause thundered. Post-talk, a young woman approached. My story's like yours. Waitress, pregnant, no future. But your speech, can I work for you? Laura smiled. What's your name? Maria. Maria, you won't work for me. You'll work with me. This isn't hierarchy. It's a movement. Room for all who choose kindness. Maria started the next week. 3 years later, a manager. 5 years on, launched her own Dignity Project branch in another city. And the wheel kept turning. Laura, now 31, was director of social impact for a 30-restaurant chain. Global speaker. Conscious business icon. But daily, she picked hope from daycare, cooked dinner, read bedtime stories. Mommy, Hope asked one night, is it true you used to be poor? Yes. And now you? Rich? Laura pondered. Now I have enough. And use enough to help those who don't. Different from rich. It's balanced. I want to be balanced too. Hope yawned. Then you're already on track. Years passed. Laura never became a millionaire. Didn't want to. Earned well, lived comfy, funneled most to the movement. At 40, she wrote a book, $10 of Dignity, How Kindness Changed Everything. Sold millions. Proceeds expanded the Dignity Project. Daniel, at 62, retired. Handed Laura the group reins. You deserve it. He said at the ceremony. Not for kindness. For skill. Vision. Proving profit and humanity mix. In her acceptance speech, Laura was direct, this group won't just sell meals. We'll sell dignity. Opportunity. Hope. And anyone who disagrees can find another job. Because we don't compromise values. The crowd, execs, investors, staff, stood ovation. Veronica got out at 44, after 6 years. Job hunted everywhere. Rejected all over. Until, on a rainy day, life's irony, she showed at the Essence. Laura was there. They locked eyes. Came to apologize. Veronica said softly. And ask for a chance. I know I don't deserve it. No, you could tell me to leave. But I've changed. Prison showed me I was wrong. About everything. Laura was quiet a long beat. You can start in the kitchen. Dishwashing. Minimum wage. Prove you've changed, we'll talk. Veronica nearly crumbled. Thank you. Truly. She worked hard. No complaints. Slowly proved the change real. 2 years later, Laura promoted her to admin assistant. "Why are you doing this?" Veronica asked, baffled. "After all I did." "Because everyone deserves a second shot," Laura replied. "And I know what it's like to be judged by the past. If I don't give you a chance, I become what I fought." Veronica never aimed for manager again. Didn't want to. Content in her role, working honestly, respecting folks. On off nights, she volunteered at the Dignity Project. Laura, at 52, the age Daniel was when he tested her, looked around and saw an empire. Not of greed. Of kindness. Hope, 28, ran half the chain spots. Expanding dignity globally. Mrs. Celia died at 80, peacefully in spring sleep. But she'd seen it all. Daughter triumph. Granddaughter thrive. Kindness win. At the funeral, Laura read her mom's letter, "My girl, you saved me twice. First, paying for treatment. Second, showing I raised someone who betters the world. I die at peace knowing kindness lives. Because it lives in you." Laura cried. But grateful tears. Because that $10, spent on a rainy morning, multiplied into millions of meals. Thousands of jobs. Countless changed lives. Not from smarts. Not planning. But choosing, in a pivotal moment, humanity over inconvenience. And that choice made all the difference. Years later, as a grandma, Laura still shared the tale. "I was just a waitress," she'd say. "Pregnant, broke, no future. But I made a choice. And it didn't just change me. It changed thousands." Then she'd ask, eyes sparkling, "And you? What choice will you make today?" Because in the end, rich or poor, powerful or unseen, what matters is this: faced with others' suffering, do you choose kindness or indifference? Laura chose kindness. What would you choose? Tell me in the comments.